Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF and on today's episode we've got another sample Saturday. This one's coming to you from Brave New Spirits, specifically their Whisky Heroes range, which is something that I've been quite vocal about. I really enjoy their labels, as you would have seen from the thumbnail. They're kind of leaning into that kind of comic book vibe, which I'm a huge fan of. I like that kind of art style. I haven't bought comic books for years now, unfortunately, but I did used to really enjoy those things. We've got a great little set today, which has come with a nice little card for me to read off. And as always with these things, I've poured these out ahead of time, but I've at best had a sniff of them, but I've not tried any of these before, given them their chance to air. But we'll go through each of them in turn, see what we've got, and I'll let you know my kind of thoughts of them. Pricing varies, and we'll go through that a little bit as we go through each one. But the best thing to do, I think, is to start... actually, I'm going to start at the bottom here. I'm going to go with the rum first, just because I'm not really a rum drinker, and we'll get on with it. So the first one then is this Rum Rogues. It's the Swashbucklers at the Gold Coast. There you go. That's a kind of... I've got these little samples, but that's a general idea about what the label looks like if I really zoom into that. We'll pop that up there. Now, it's a Australian single barrel rum distilled at an undisclosed distillery, matured in American virgin oak, followed by first fill bourbon cask. 16 years old, 55.3%, 317 bottles. Couldn't find a price for this one. So, yeah, I'll say cheers to you and let's get into it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely rum. It's got that kind of, there's a lot of tropical notes on it. I always get kind of like a golden syrupy vibe off of rum. Let's try on the palate. Oi. Oh, that's got some bite to it. Oh, there's so much going on there. It's an interesting one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a huge rum fan, so definitely struggling with that. Not enough for a second sip, of course, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like I like a sweet whiskey, but this is like so sweet. Extreme sugar. It's, yeah, okay, as rum goes, I find it just fine. Like I said, I'm not really a rum drinker. I've got a couple of rums up there, but I don't really reach for them very often. Yeah, not for me, I have to say. Not for me, but that's why we've done it first. Let's get it out of the way. We'll cleanse palate. Let's move on to something a little bit more in my wheelhouse. So, I'm going in the order they've got here for me, which is interesting. Not the same order that's on here, but yeah, I think that's actually a good order because we've got 2 non-peated, 2 peated, and then of course the rum. So the first one then, the Relic of the Shore. Now this is a Speyside Inchgower distillery, finished in first fill PX Sherry Barrique. I don't know what it was in beforehand. 12 years old, 51.2%, 332 bottles, 68 quid, which makes it probably the cheapest one here today. Again, I'm not sure what the rum is. I imagine the rum's fairly expensive, to be honest. Looks pretty good. And as you guys know, apparently I like PX, which is not something I thought I would say very often. That nose is beautiful. Bags of those PX. I think PX really suits me because it's much juicier than the normal kind of dried fruits that you would get on a sherry finish. But I'm getting bags of that here. Let's try on the palate. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely, vibrant. There's some citrusy elements coming out to me. Bags of that PX, without a doubt. It's not, obviously look at the colour. It's not like, it's not super in there, but that's definitely the predominant flavour. I'd be really struggling to pick out a base distillery. Inchgower is a little bit like that for me anyway, but Yeah, man, that's nice, that. Strong start. But, you know how these Sample Saturdays go. I'm not here to review these things. I'm here to give a quick impression on it and then decide what my favourite is at the end. Of course, we have a little swill out between each one. We try and keep it unedited, but I spilt a drink again. I've been doing that a lot recently. So, next one. You can be gone. We've got The Gathering on the Seven Hills. And this one is a Glendullan, finished in first fill Amontillado cask, sherry hogshead, 15 years old, 55.1%, 282 bottles, 90 quid. It's worth saying as well, I found all of these prices on the Southport Whiskey website. I didn't go mega searching for these, but that's where they're available. I'll drop a link in the description below, so you can go check them out if you want. Yeah, this one's got a bit of a deeper colour to it, which is I'm surprised about, considering it's Amontillado, and I know I'm saying that wrong, but, you know, whatever, dude. That actually smells really nice. I'm not a huge fan of the drier sherries, let's say, or many sherry finishes, to be fair, but that's pretty good. Let's try palate. Wowzers. Okay, that's really juicy. Well, I'm struggling to pick that apart. Okay. After that juiciness goes, I am getting a little bit of sulphur on the back end. Not much, just a little fleck of kind of burnt match, which is fine, actually. I'm happy with that. Actually, that is a little bit of a shame, I will say, because compared to the start of that palette, which was really good, really stunning, that's really soured out for me. Let's go back to the nose quickly. The nose has got bags of honey, dried fruits, but there's a juicier element to it for sure. But it's, yeah, the honeys and the caramels are really shining through on this. The sherry element not translating on the nose, but that's fine by me, you know. Let's go back to that palette. The start of that is just phenomenal. Even now, I'm still getting those kind of like candy. It's almost like candied figs rather than just figs. Very sweet, very nice. I will say the impact of that sulphuriness on the first sip is diminished on the second sip. I'm not getting it as much. Maybe that's just because I was expecting it this time. Yeah, much more favourable than that. I mean, that was literally unbridled tasting notes happening as on the fly. My first taste and my second taste. In fact, yeah, I would say I'm barely getting sulphury notes at all now. Nice, I like that. That's good. What a tasty drop! But again, I would struggle to pick out any. I mean, Glendullan is not a distillery I know much about, to be honest. So picking out a distillery character would be nigh on impossible, I think. But yeah, that's tasty, man. That's my preference. Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to try and decide between these two, because the next two are peated, and they're gonna beat these two, I think. Nose on the first. Okay. Tough call. The first one's my favourite of the two. I don't like to waste time deciding. Not much in it though, I will say, not much in it. Let's have a little swish. Okay. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit excited about this next one. When I read the words, this is the Peatfire Paladin, which is a UK exclusive, and it is a Caol Ila, finished in first fill PX sherry octaves, 12 years old, 53.6%, only 45 bottles and 100 quid. Still in stock as far as I know. Now, obviously, you guys know, if you follow me, I've just released a PX peated myself, so huge fan of that kind of PX and peat together. We've got a deeper colour, as I would have expected, which is cool. You know, whenever I see Caol Ila normally, it's very light and in refill casks, so don't know how long the finish was on this. Right, okay, genuine first smell, first taste then. Oh, good lord. That smells so good. It's actually a lot more medicinal than I was expecting a Caol Ila to be. I'm going to have to try on the palate and then come back to the nose. Oh. Ooh, okay. Juicy. Right, okay. Let's try and do something that you can actually understand what I'm talking about. Now, it's obviously very smoky, very saline, lots of juicy fruits in this. There's a little bit of kind of beeswax in there, which I like. Yeah, nice. Very sweet peat. Let's try on the palate again. Yeah, do you know what? Oh, the first half replicates the nose quite nicely. It's, you know, saline, sweet peat, bit of that's beeswax. But then out of nowhere, it sort of does this kind of weird, like, ramp up of the sweetness. Lots of, like, you know, actually some brown sugars in there. It's not as PXy as I would have expected it to be, but it's really robust, really well rounded, considering everything that's going on in it. That's really nice. Yeah, okay, we're going to struggle to top that, I think, guys. But that's where we're at. We've got one more. Where's my water? There we go. The last one then. Rise of the Ardphroaig. You going to do your thing? Yeah, Rise of the Ardphroaig. This is a Ardmore, finished in second fill Laphroaig barrels, 10 years old, 55.9%, 490 bottles, 78 quid. Yeah, man, let's go for it. I mean, Ardmore gets a bit of a bad rap. I don't know why. I quite like it. And finishing it in Laphroaig barrels, what could go wrong, right? A little bit lighter than the other ones we've been talking about so far, and actually the lowest aged. Why not? Let's get into it. Oh, okay. Very light. I get my nose right in that. It's obviously peaty, but you know, Ardmore is you know, being a non-islands peat. I always find it tends to be a little bit more warming, a little bit more, you know, not as salty, I guess. Let's try on the palate and come back to the nose, as always. Oh, wow. Okay. Again, another builder. Right. Oh, that is nice. Okay, yeah, on the nose. Coming from a peat drinker's point of view, it's very light, very inviting, very warming. It has some peat, it has some medicinal notes to it that I really like, but that would put a lot of people off. Tough thing to say. Put a lot of people off. There you go. That is a good one. I like it. Yeah, the nose doesn't give much away, I have to say. Back to that palate. Do you know what? So the palate, it lulls you into a false sense of security. It's very light. It's very honeyed. It's very vanilla. There's a little tickle of smoke and a bit of peat, a bit of medicinal in there. But usually what happens for me is you get a bit of sweetness, you get a bit of smoke, and that's the kind of like overarching flavour, and then that disappears. That's not what's happening here. You get that little bit of sweetness, a little bit of smoke, but then it starts to ramp up, which is, again, it boggles my brain. I don't think I've really experienced that much, apart from today, apparently. But it's noticeably longer. It's a nice, light, inviting start, and then there's a really big, punchy, smoky, peaty element to it at the back end, which again is, it's not something I'm really used to trying. Which I'm there for it though. That's really good. Right. I think it's fair to say. I mean, like for me, the Peatfire Paladin is the clear winner, with the Ardphroaig Mutant not far behind. Then the Relic of the Shore. Then the Gathering of the Seven Hills. But I've banned those two sets together. The two peateds, very nice indeed. The two non-peateds, very nice indeed. Not a huge fan of the rum, but that's because I'm not a rum drinker. I'm sure that there'll be lots in there that would be inviting to a rum drinker, but that's just me. Okay, again, longer video than usual because we've got 5 samples to get through, but hopefully you've enjoyed that. And hopefully you'll go and check out Whisky Heroes. They're on Instagram, same as Brave New Spirits and all of the other kind of versions of their spirit they do. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hit the thumbs up if you want to see more of this sort of stuff, and I'll keep doing it. But yeah, which one shall I join off screen? Do you know what? I'm going to start from the beginning again because that's a good way to do. But yeah, I'll say cheers to you, and I'll see you again on the next one. Cheers.